774 million years ago, something terrifying happened. The Earth's magnetic field completely flipped. North became south and south became north. This magnetic reversal completely changed our planet and wiped out most life on Earth, and now scientists say it might be happening again. In this video, we'll find out if Earth's magnetic field is collapsing and what will happen when it flips. Just a heads up, the last time this happened, 90% of all species went extinct. You've been warned. The Earth has a magnetic field, which is actually a huge protective bubble that surrounds our planet. It protects us from dangerous cosmic radiation and solar winds. But recently, the magnetic field has been getting weaker, and we don't know why. That's why scientists believe that a magnetic reversal could happen much earlier than expected, maybe even in our lifetime. And here's the scary part. Reversals usually happen gradually, but the process has sped up recently. In just the last 50 years, the magnetic field at the Earth's poles has weakened by 10. Since the year 2000, the weakening has accelerated. Now it's happening 5 times faster than before. We don't understand what's causing this acceleration, and we don't know how to stop it. It all started when Earth was just a hot, molten rock. It was spinning, and some metals were pulled towards its core. Iron and nickel formed a giant ball inside the Earth, and that's where the problem lies. This inner core is about 1,200 kilometers in diameter, and it rotates slightly faster than the rest of the planet. This means that electric currents are created within the iron ball. And guess what? Electric currents create magnetic fields. So right now, the Earth's magnetic field is created by the currents inside the iron core. These magnetic field lines run from the South Pole to the North Pole. They're completely random, and they form a gigantic protective bubble around our planet. This bubble is called the Magnetosphere. It extends thousands of kilometers into space, and it protects us from deadly cosmic radiation and solar winds. This magnetic field also affects our lives in other ways. For example, it causes the northern lights. Charged particles from the sun get trapped by the magnetic field. They bounce between the Earth's surface and the upper atmosphere until they reach the poles. There they collide with gas molecules and excite them. Then the gas molecules release energy in the form of light. So the higher the energy, the brighter and more colorful the lights. But this magnetic field is unstable. Sometimes the magnetic field lines get tangled and break. When that happens, we call it a magnetic pole reversal. During a reversal, the magnetic field lines shift dramatically. This means that the Earth's magnetic north becomes south, and the magnetic south becomes north. During these reversals, the magnetic field gets weaker and weaker, and when it reaches its weakest point, the magnetic poles flip. Scientists think that this happens because the Earth's inner core rotates a little faster than the rest of the planet. It creates electric currents that form a magnetic field. But without these currents, there would be no magnetic field. So the Earth's core tries to move these currents to keep the magnetic field going. That's why it sometimes flips. But why does it matter if the magnetic north becomes south? Won't it just look cool to see a compass spin around? Well, probably not. See, many animals use the Earth's magnetic field to navigate. They can sense the magnetic field lines and use them to orient themselves. For example, sea turtles use the magnetic field to find their way back to their nesting beaches after they hatch. Even humans use the magnetic field for navigation. Many satellites rely on the magnetic field to stay in orbit. If the magnetic poles flip, they won't work anymore. A magnetic reversal will also destroy our power grid. A lot of our electrical equipment relies on the Earth's magnetic field, but during a reversal, the magnetic field gets very unstable. That means that our power grid will fail. And if it doesn't get fixed quickly, the whole world economy could collapse. But even worse, the Earth's magnetic field protects us from deadly radiation. Every second, the Earth is hit by cosmic rays. They're protons and nuclei of atoms that fly through space at incredible speeds. Most of them are harmless, but some can damage DNA and cause cancer. Luckily, the Earth's magnetic field traps most of these particles and channels them towards the poles. There, they hit the atmosphere and explode in a beautiful, harmless aurora. But during a magnetic reversal, the magnetic field gets so weak that these particles can reach every corner of the planet. Wherever they go, they'll damage the DNA of living things. Some of them will penetrate deep into the ground and stay there for millions of years. And that's why the last magnetic reversal, the excursion event, was so dangerous. It happened 774 million years ago, when most life still existed in the oceans. The event caused mass extinction. 90% of all marine species disappeared. Only cyanobacteria survived. Those were tiny microorganisms that lived in the depths of the ocean. They didn't need oxygen to survive. Today, most of life on Earth depends on oxygen. So it's thanks to them that we exist. If a magnetic reversal happens again, will we be able to survive? Well, maybe. First, we'll need to spot it coming. We have a magnetic field, so we can measure how strong it is at different places on the Earth's surface. Right now it's getting weaker, but we don't know exactly how fast. So far we haven't seen any significant weakening, but that doesn't mean we have a lot of time left. In the past, magnetic reversals took a few thousand years. That's why we should double our efforts to study this issue. Then we need to prepare for it. For example, we'll have to change the way we generate electricity. Right now, we use large power plants that have generators. These generators rely on the Earth's magnetic field. Without it, they won't work. So we'll need to switch to smaller, more localized power sources. Solar and wind power could help us. But if they can't provide enough energy, we'll have to burn fossil fuels or use nuclear power. Of course, this isn't a good option, but it could save many lives. We'll also have to protect ourselves from cosmic rays. To do that, we'll need to build underground shelters. The deeper underground, the better. In the worst-case scenario, people will have to hide in bunkers for several years. That's why we shouldn't wait until the magnetic poles flip to start preparing. We should do it right now. It's hard to say whether we'll survive a magnetic reversal. Everything will depend on how well we prepare for it. And even if we do everything right, a lot of people will still die. Cosmic rays don't just cause cancer, they'll also damage satellites and our electronic devices. It'll take years to fix everything. That's why we should be careful. Maybe we should listen to the ancient Chinese. Long time ago, they had an expression, "Don't move unless you see the signs." That's exactly what we should do. Watch out for any unusual changes in the magnetic field. Maybe they'll help us prepare for what's coming. By the way, do you know how scientists determine the age of the Earth? It turns out that it's not 4.5 billion years old as everyone thinks. Find out how old our planet really is in this video.